Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents So Wrong, It's Right by Amelia Kingston. Narrated by Elizabeth Hart and Teddy Hamilton. Chapter 1. Michelle. Fuck love. That lying, cheating, no-good emotion can shrivel up and die for all I care. I'm done with the involuntary heart palpitations and suffocating in breathless moments. Done with the hoping and waiting and crying. Done with not being enough. College is over. This trip today is the first day of my new life. A new me. Strong, independent, and blissfully oh so single. I am the master of my own fate, and so help me God, I will be happy. I grab my Louis Vuitton bag, a graduation gift from my dad, and tumble out of my Mini Cooper. My body is stiff from the long drive, and my heart is sore from its long journey. I stretch out my arms and legs, taking in the unbelievable scenery around me. A city girl, I'd prefer a 5-star hotel spa over the dirty wilderness. I'm with Dorothy. Lions and tigers and bears are not my deal, but with the rolling mountains, a massive forest, and the tranquil blue lake, I can't deny how beautiful it is here. I can take a deep breath for the first time in months. When Elizabeth said I could stay at her family's summer place for the week, I was too eager for an escape to say no. I know Elizabeth is rich, but when she said, cabin by the lake, I pictured a quaint, rustic house, maybe a small dock with a rowboat. Nope. The 2-story lake house in front of me belongs in an architectural magazine. It's beautiful. From its river rock columns and wood siding, to its steep fairy tale roof and many chimneys. Floor-to-ceiling windows make up the entire front, allowing for panoramic views of the majestic, crystal-clear lake and tall redwood trees. A wide deck wraps around the first floor, opening up to a path down to the water. Perched on the edge of the lake isn't a dock. It's a full boathouse that looks to hold an assortment of watercraft, ranging from canoes to a small yacht. There's no sign of another human being. No other homes along the lake. No sounds of cars or people. Just the gentle hum of crickets. If I weren't boycotting love, I could certainly fall for the magic of this place. It was well worth the 6-hour drive. The last 2 on a private dirt road that was harrowing in the Mini. I'm pretty sure I lost my muffler about halfway up. But I was determined to get away. I square my shoulders, stand up straight, and march into the house. Dumping my suitcase and purse in the entryway, I pinch myself, looking around the beautiful space. The high ceilings and open floor plan make me feel nearly as tiny as the giant forest I just drove through. My entire college apartment could fit inside the living room, but the place still manages to feel homey. Natural colors and soft lighting make it sweetly country, without being over-the-top kitschy. Yep, I could get used to this. I pull out my phone to text Elizabeth, only to remember she said there wouldn't be any cell service. Makes sense. I'm pretty far into the wilderness here. I dig out the paper she gave me and log in to the house's Wi-Fi, thanking the internet gods that there are ways to communicate without cell service. I snap a few quick pictures of the place and email them to Elizabeth with a handful of emojis and OMGs. My phone chimes with the FaceTime notification. You made it there safe, I see. Elizabeth's gentle smile lights up my screen. You weren't kidding. That drive is no joke. But man, it was worth it, Lisbeth. This place is amazing. I hold my phone up so she can see the setting sun over the lake behind me. It's perfect. Thank you so much. Have you seen the bathroom yet? Elizabeth bites her lip. No. Down the hall, 3rd door on the right. I inch down the hallway with hesitant steps. I'm not going to find anything freaky in there like an iguana or something. Iguana? My uncle had one when I was little. It lived in the bathtub of his spare bedroom. Scared the crap out of me once. Literally. Her sweet laugh echoes down the long, empty hall. No reptiles. I promise. With a light push, the bathroom door creaks open and I peer into the darkness. I fumble for the light switch on the wall, totally unable to find the stupid thing. It's on the far wall, Elizabeth tells me. I groan. Why would you put a light switch on the other side of the bathroom? I grope along the wall until I feel the switch and flick it on, only to be blinded by the sight. I blink a few times before I'm able to take in the majesty in front of me. A huge clawfoot tub, big enough for 3 of me, sits in the middle of the far wall. A backsplash of river rock gives it a natural feel. There's a remote on the wall next to the light switch. The bathtub has a remote? Elizabeth shakes her head. Not the bathtub, silly. It controls the entire bathroom, she tells me, as if that somehow makes more sense. Press the button that looks like a waterfall. Excitement pours out of her. I click the button, which, sure enough, looks like a waterfall. The rock wall behind the tub begins to pour water down its face, making a soothing sound that relaxes my whole body. Now, press the fire button. Elizabeth's giddy voice calls out. The fire button? What about earth and air? I tease, pressing the button as instructed, because, let's be honest, I'm desperate to know what else this magical bathroom's capable of. A panel slides open across from the tub, and a fire lights up inside a small crevice. My mouth drops open. This place is amazing. Elizabeth laughs at my bewilderment. I'm going to have to let you go, Lizbeth. I've been consumed with a desperate need to get naked in your bathroom. Bath bombs are under the sink. Towels are in the closet down the hall. Liquor is in the cabinet next to the bookshelf in the living room, and wine's in the cellar. Enjoy yourself, Michelle. You deserve it, babe. I barely give her time to finish before I hang up and start running myself a bath. Small amendment to the anti-love policy. Inanimate objects, which are physically incapable of betraying me, are now allowed to be loved. Starting with this bathtub. I settle into the hot, soapy water and listen to the sound of rain pouring down as a summer storm breaks outside.
Chapter 2. Drew. My wipers are on full speed and I can still barely see out my windshield. I turned off the main road over an hour ago, and I sure as fuck hope I get to Elizabeth's place in the next few minutes, or I'm going to end up sleeping in my damn truck. I start up a slight grade and my tires slip in the mud. I curse myself for the 100th time for running off on this little adventure like a damn drama queen. It's not really my style. I'm the steady, easygoing one, old reliable, my sisters always tease. As the youngest in the family, I've spent a lifetime getting razzed and learning how to take things in stride. I don't let myself get riled up easily, but I need a few days to myself right now. A few days to breathe and just be. No one asking me how I'm preparing for training camp, or how excited I am for my rookie season, or my personal favorite, what's the signing bonus for my contract. I've wanted to play in the NFL since I could carry a football. But I've had my fill of the off-field bullshit, of everyone thinking they deserve a piece of me. Since I registered for the draft, my life has been consumed with interviews, press conferences, and public appearances. And when I went in the first round, shit, my private life imploded. I'm used to questions about the game or my performance, but I wasn't prepared for this craziness. Every aspect of my life is fair game now. What's worse, the people I care about were dragged into this circus too. My teammates, my friends, my family. Everyone is being hounded for the most asinine gossip about me. What's my favorite pregame snack? Who cares? What do I do in the off-season? None of your business. Is there a special woman in my life? Get fucked. Is it so much to ask for everyone to just leave me the hell alone? What I do on the field speaks for itself. The last straw was a reporter from ESPN surprising my parents on our farm during Christmas break. My mom was horrified. I spent 2 hours trying to calm her down, listening to her regret the scandal of being filmed in her barn clothes. No one gets to make my mom feel less than, especially not some uninvited pencil-dick reporter. My dad's typical stoic response was spot on. It just ain't right. I told my agent this shit has to stop. Her response? Feed the beast. And hiring me a publicist. A fucking publicist. Like some Hollywood starlet with a drug problem. For the past few months, we've been cultivating an image. Whatever the hell that means. I'd take 3-a-day practices in the dead of summer over all this social media bullshit. I have one skill, sacking quarterbacks, and that's all I want to keep doing. Instead, I'm posting sweaty post-workout pics on Instagram and tweeting about the ingredients of my protein shake. To my utter surprise, people gobble that shit up. I've got like 500,000 followers and counting. It's a delicate balance, giving just enough fluff to keep them off my back while keeping as much of my private life private as possible. Jesus, I just want to play football. When my teammate Austin offered up his girlfriend's cabin out in the middle of nowhere, I jumped on it. No cell service, no problem. My country ass is fucking ecstatic at the idea of not seeing or hearing another human being for a few days. First, I need to make it there without dying in this summer typhoon. It doesn't help that I've got to piss like a racehorse. I didn't realize quite how far it was to the middle of nowhere. If it weren't dropping buckets outside, I'd just pull over and answer nature's call, but fuck that. I look around the floorboards of my truck, wondering how much of a mess I'd make trying to piss into an old 2-liter bottle, when the forest falls away and a gigantic house comes into view. Holy shit. This place is a damn resort. It's dark as shit, and the rain is really coming down, so I can't see much of the detail, but the sheer size of this thing is impressive. I throw the truck into park, grab my duffel bag, and run up to the porch. I'm a little surprised when I find the front door unlocked and a few lights on. Then again, knowing Austin's girlfriend, she probably asked someone to come out here to prep the place, stock the fridge and shit. She's sweet as hell, and too damn good for Austin. I charge into the house, shaking myself like a golden retriever in the massive entryway. I drop my bag and stomp off to find the nearest toilet. I stare down a long hallway that has about 1,000,000 doors and grumble. Definitely going to piss my pants. One of the doors about halfway down is cracked, and a flickering light has me charging toward it like a moth to a flame. I nudge the door open with my foot. My pants are already unzipped, and my dick is in my hand. It's dimly lit, but definitely a bathroom. Jackpot. I skim my hand over the wall, but can't find a light switch. I'm scanning the room looking for the toilet, when a blood-curdling scream makes me drop my dick and jump about 3 feet in the air. Pretty impressive for a guy who's 6'3". The acrobatics have my pants sliding off my ass. I shuffle around in the dim light, pants around my ankles, dick out, and my bladder completely forgotten. My heart is pounding. My gaze snaps to the bathtub and the source of the feminine screams. A petite woman bolts upright in the tub, sloshing water over the sides. The only light in the room is a fire to her side, and it casts a warm glow over her body. Her very naked, very wet body. I can see every inch of her from the tip of her head to her cute belly button. A patch of bubbles slides down her shoulder, gliding across her sharp collarbone before sinking between her perky round tits. I'd love to trace the same path with my tongue. It's only been a few heartbeats, but I'm frozen in time, devouring every inch of her glistening skin. Fuck me, I stutter on a labored breath. She wraps an arm around her chest, and my gaze finally makes it up to her face. She's not scared. She's furious. She points behind me and shouts, "Get the hell out of here, Andrew Wright!" I shake my head at the sound of my own name. I've got to be dreaming. Maybe I flipped my truck back on that dirt road out in the rain, and this is all some crazy coma-induced hallucination. "Now!" she screeches, while I stare at her soft, round face in wonder. Pert, upturned nose, flushed cheeks, full heart-shaped lips, deep brown eyes, and long, silky black hair that begs to be coiled in my fist. My brain kicks back into gear, and anger takes the place of lust. Michelle Anders. My eyes narrow on her, my jaw tightens and I scowl. I glance at the toilet next to her and take a step toward it. "Don't you dare!" she chides. I lift the lid without a word. "You wouldn't." I grab my dick and she slaps her hand over her face. "Oh my God, you're an animal." I'm sporting a semi, so it takes a few seconds to get going, but I'm determined to do my business. Naked, prissy girl in the bathtub be damned. I leave the seat up, zip, and strut to the sink to wash my hands. "You are so disgusting." "Chill out, I'm washing my hands." "Close the door behind you." I don't. I stalk back out to the living room and pull out my phone. I try to call Austin, but it doesn't go through. Right, no cell service. I toss my phone onto the coffee table, fall into the couch, slouch back against the cushions, and stare up at the ceiling. Of all the people in the world, it had to be her. The rain is beating down hard, and I focus on the sound instead of the image of Michelle's soap-covered, naked body.
Chapter 3. Michelle. Now that I know I'm not going to be murdered in the world's most luxurious bathroom, I'm absolutely livid. Goddamn Drew and his smug, crass ass. Just when I was starting to think things were going my way, in stumbles the country boy jock who pulverized the last bit of my heart. Is there no justice in this world? Clearly not, because if so, Drew would shrivel up into a broken nothingness. But he hasn't. No. Instead, he looks healthy, strong, and sexy as hell. Even soaking wet with his pants around his ankles, he's delicious. Maybe especially soaking wet. I clamp my eyes tight, willing away the sight of Drew's penis. My bath is officially ruined. I flick on the lights and turn off the fire and water fountain with an unsatisfied huff. I dry off with a towel that's been woven out of fluffy clouds, but it does nothing to soothe my anger. I didn't bring my bag into the bathroom, so now I get to throw my dirty clothes back on. I'm seething when I message Elizabeth. Drew is here. Who? Drew Wright? No, Drew Barrymore. Yes, Drew Wright. Why? I have no freaking idea. Maybe you could tell me. 3 little dots appear and disappear about a dozen times. I'm fully dressed, but still hiding in the bathroom. The rest of the house is quiet, and for a moment I wonder if I hallucinated it all. I snatch my phone off the counter and crack the door, peeking out. I look for the mountain of a man who was born to torture me. I pad out to the living room and freeze when I spot his shaggy brown hair dangling off the back of the couch. His arms are thrown over his face and he looks exhausted. I could almost feel bad for him if I didn't know what a colossal jerk he really is. My phone chimes in my hand and I yelp. Drew sits up and turns to look at me. I snap my shoulders back and straighten up. I answer FaceTime quickly with, "Hello?" like I don't know it's Elizabeth. Okay, so obviously there's been a little mix-up. Go on, I say, my eyes focused on the ceiling to avoid Drew's heated gaze on me. Austin told me Drew would be using the cabin the last week of June, which clearly I thought meant the actual last week, not the last full week of June. You mean the first week of July? Austin chimes in from over Elizabeth's shoulder. Drew shoves off the couch and rounds the corner until he's standing 10 feet in front of me. He interlocks his fingers behind his head, making his already massive body seem to take up half of the gigantic living space. He's solid like a tank, a foot taller than me and probably a foot wider, too. The corners of his soft lips drop to a pout, and his warm honey-brown eyes, I used to get lost in, burn a hole straight through me. His shoulders are tense and his biceps flex. I swallow hard. At least his pants are zipped. I'm sorry, guys, Elizabeth apologizes, gnawing on her lip. Austin snags the phone out of her hand, and his pretty boy face takes up the whole screen. It's not that big of a deal. You guys can share, right? He teases. You can't be serious, Drew asks, glaring at me like this is all my fault. That's not going to work for me, I snap. Drew drops his arms, tucks his hands into his pockets, and slouches forward.
Me neither.
Oh, come on. The place is huge. You guys wouldn't even have to see each other unless you wanted to.
I've seen all there is to see of the little princess here.
He shrugs.
I'm good.
My lips pucker like I'm sucking on a lemon. You're disgusting. He chuckles, a dry and sarcastic sound that doesn't suit him.
You've mentioned that already.
I stand as tall as I can, lifting onto my tiptoes for that extra quarter inch, and stare up at Drew as I tell Austin, please explain to your brute of a friend that I was here first, and if he were any kind of gentleman at all, he'd leave.
Look,
Drew cuts off his friend and takes a step toward me.
Austin, could you tell this spoiled brat that, gentleman or not, no one in their right mind would go out on that death trap of a road in the middle of a damn thunderstorm?
Mother Nature must be on his side, because a flash of lightning across the lake shines in through the windows, followed quickly by the loud rumble of thunder. Undaunted by Drew or Mother Nature, I take a step closer, meeting his challenge. Could you tell him that a real man wouldn't be scared of a little rain? Drew steps forward again, the space between us shrinking by the second.
Can you tell her that a real man doesn't get scared off by a midget harpy?
FaceTime forgotten, my hand drops, my mouth falls open, and I suck in a sharp breath. I'd rather be a midget harpy than an overgrown Neanderthal. He takes another step toward me and crosses his arms. He's so close now I have to crane my neck to meet his eyes. But I'll be damned if I'm going to be the one that loses this staring contest.
At least this overgrown Neanderthal knows how to lock a bathroom door.
He quirks an eyebrow and drops his gaze to my chest. I instinctively cross my arms over my breasts, even though I'm now fully dressed. I lurch forward, shoving my crossed arms into his solar plexus. He doesn't budge. Why would he? He could bench press me if he wanted to. I am furious. At him. At the situation. At the fact that he can make me feel so insignificant. I should slap that smirk off your stupid face, I growl, my blood boiling. He leans down, his face in mine, when he chides.
Try it, princess.
Time out! Time out! Elizabeth screeches. There will be no bloodshed in my family's lake house. Pity, I scoff with a snarl. I spin away, satisfaction washing over me at the sound of my still wet hair slapping across his face. I retreat to the other side of the living room, trying desperately to slow my heart rate before I do something I'm going to regret. It's obviously too late and too stormy for anyone to go anywhere tonight. Elizabeth tries to reason with both of us. I let out a deep sigh, accepting the truth, when it's presented by my friend instead of my nemesis. In the morning, we'll figure out who stays and if someone has to go. Who has to go, I correct.
We'll flip a coin,
Drew adds. Fine.
In the meantime, Austin's voice rings out of my speakers again. May I suggest you guys get wasted and try to make nice?
Chapter 4. Drew. Michelle ends the video chat, and I realize I'm trapped here with her for the night. I'm opening up every cabinet in the kitchen looking for the booze. He wasn't serious, Michelle calls to my back. I blow out a raspberry. He sure as fuck was. Do you even know Austin? You're probably right. All you football players are the same. Big, drunk, cheating assholes. I slam a cabinet closed and chide myself for it. Chill out. I spin around and pin her with a death glare. We are not all the same. Just because you picked the biggest piece of shit to ever put on a jersey doesn't mean the rest of us are. You're about as loyal as a toad. You wouldn't know loyalty if it bit you in your uptight ass. She doesn't answer. Instead, she stalks into the living room and pulls open a cabinet door, revealing just about every type of liquor you could ever want. Here, before you tear down the house. Thank fuck. I stalk over to the bar. My arm brushes against her shoulder, but she doesn't flinch. I'm sure she hates touching me, but she's a stubborn little thing. I'd swear she counts to 10 in her head before pulling away. Without a word, she rolls her brand-new, expensive-as-hell-looking bag down the hallway. I watch her walk away, eyeing the soft curve of her hips, and wondering what the rest of her would look like, wet and soapy. Princess is a real piece of work, but I would hate fuck the shit out of that woman. I pour myself 3 fingers of whiskey and take a long sip. It's going to be a hell of a night. The cabin is cold, but I'm toasty after polishing off my second glass of whiskey. Still, the sounds of thunder and rain are rolling over us, and that giant fireplace is calling to me, begging for a roaring fire. It's not like I've got anything better to do. With no TV and no cell service, I could ask Michelle for the Wi-Fi password, but that would require talking to her, and I'd rather set myself on fire. There's a few massive logs next to the hearth. I think they're mostly for show, but they're dry and should burn fine. I look around for something to split them with, but come up empty. I step outside and do a lap of the wraparound porch. At the back of the house there's a small shed with a larger wood pile against one wall. There's got to be something in that shed that will work. Too bad it's going to take a 50-yard dash across the yard to get there. I sprint across the lawn, dodging the larger puddles, but still end up soaked when I make it to the shed. I pull the latch, glad that it's not locked. I flip the switch on the wall and an overhead light fills the small space. I love the smell of wood, rust, and rain. It reminds me of home. I close my eyes and take a long, deep breath, bathing in the memories of the farm I grew up on. The loud rumble of thunder outside reminds me an old shed isn't the ideal place to spend my night. I grab a large hatchet off a hook on the wall and make my way back to the house. My clothes are dripping by the time I make it inside, so I strip them off, tossing them into the large stone hearth. I strut to the bar in my boxer briefs and pour myself another whiskey. Now, time to get this fire started.
Chapter 5. Michelle. I'm so mad I could scream, but I wouldn't dare give Drew the satisfaction. I'm furious at Drew, and Elizabeth, and Austin, and the rain, and this entire stupid situation I'm stuck in. As idiotic as Austin's suggestion is, that Drew and I both spend the week locked in this remote lake house, that idea about getting drunk isn't half bad. Not that I'd ever admit it, but I could use something to take the edge off. Drew drives me up the damn wall. He's big, and loud, and primal. I sneak down the cellar and grab a bottle of wine, snagging a wine key and glass off the shelf before slipping back into my room. I change into my most comfortable pajamas, a pink tank top, and my short shorts with cats riding unicorns. A Christmas present from Elizabeth. I pour myself a big girl glass of wine, to the brim, grab my tablet, and climb into bed. Getting cozy, I open up the sports romance I downloaded on my way here. It's a new release from one of my favorite authors that I've been desperate to dive into. I may have sworn off jocks in real life, but they're still my favorite book boyfriends. I'm 5 chapters and 3 glasses of wine in when I have to stop. It's hot. Very hot. Full of enemies to lovers, angst, and sexual tension. Unfortunately, Drew ruins it like he ruins everything. Knowing we're alone out here in the woods, that he's in the next room, keeps my mind drifting back to him. To that hungry look in his eyes when he watched me in the tub. Instead of the egotistical hero, I picture Drew with all his ripped muscles and rough words. Instead of the sassy heroine, I picture myself teasing and torturing him until he can't stand it, until he pins me down and destroys me. Urgh. I toss my tablet aside with a frustrated sigh. I refuse to get all hot and bothered thinking about that brute. I loathe him. I don't care if he is the perfect hate-fuck fantasy. There is no way in hell I want his hard body pressing me into the mattress, trapping my arms above my head, my teeth digging into his shoulder while he tears me apart with that massive... Stop it! I jump off the bed and give myself a light slap on each cheek. Snap out of it. I take a deep breath, count to 10, and pour myself another tall glass of wine. When I crawl back into bed...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?